权利跟特权。Okay, you look that you know the answer. 就是你的。Okay, what's the difference between right and privilege? Okay, follow the boss. When the mic is, you said, of course I know. Who want to share? What's the difference between a right and a privilege? I think you know.
A right is something you can do. You have the obligation. You have the opportunity to legally. But a privilege is something you can do which is not legally bound, but it's benefits for you.
Anybody have different thoughts? Yeah, go ahead.
So a right doesn't carry responsibility, but a privilege carries responsibility.
Okay. I have a slightly different. When you go to the airport, right? There's these beautiful lounge, right? If you're a traveling business or first class, you can go in. There are brass, have a beer, have cookies, right? What does it say? Privilege or rights? You'll be privileged. So for me, privilege means it's an opportunity that is given to you by somebody who embraces you. Meaning that that opportunity was given by people around you. I treat that more sacred. A right is, you don't have to ask anybody, right? So when you hold this mic, you gotta think, when you speak for 30 seconds, is that opportunity is kind of agreed among everybody, and it's a very rare opportunity that was given to you. The second reason I failed, because I thought creating my own business was my right. I don't need to ask anybody. I don't need to get blessing from my family and friends. I just went to do it because I don't want to be bullied by anybody. But now I'm helping a lot of teams, the team I'm investing. I ask the same question. And when they try to understand the difference between right and privilege, you're starting to show signs of appreciation for the chances that was given to you, or for the luck that was given to you. So next time when the mic passes to you, you need to kind of blue pill or red pill, right? Is it your right or it's an honor to share? Being an entrepreneur is all about seeking the opportunity, right? Opportunity doesn't come. So do you want to share? Red pill? Blue pill? Do you want to share? You have 25 seconds. You have 20 seconds. Anybody want to share from this group? Why do you guys want to be an entrepreneur? You have 15 seconds.
So mostly
10.
Most it's about finance. But first of all, it's finance freedom. It's the first part of anyone's freedom. If somebody can say to you, you have
3,
something or
2,
just get
1. Okay, thank you. Okay, so it's about financial freedom, right? You as a, don't mean to always look at you, but if you're an angel investor, will you invest at this very, very early stage, says, invest in me because I want financial freedom.
It's essentially the same as Bob. It's what I want instead of what I.
If I'm a student, I'll write that down. Please go ahead. It's very valuable on what you just shared. Please.
The common thing between these two groups is it's from their perspective. So every time, I'm sorry, what should I refer to you as?
David.
Every time David says, if you were an angel investor, if you were, investing your own money, would you do it for this reason? He's always flipping our perspective. So the first time we start writing this out, it's all about us. And we did it too. Like, why do you want to do it? For the money, for the money, for the money. that's not going to sound good to anybody else. It's well, we have to be thinking about the person whose money it is, and our answer has to be related to how we're going to add value, which I think David also mentioned at the beginning. So the investor is going to want to hear about something related to value we're going to add, which comes up occasionally when people say that they want to create something, or they want to develop a characteristic that will eventually lead to adding value. Like somebody in our group said he wants to develop leadership. So the kind of answers that you'd want to hear if it's about your money would be about things that are going to create market value, not about things that people want. Otherwise, it's like asking for a handout. So, could I have some money, please? There are many people on the street in America who want $5, and the answer is almost the same if you say, you know, please invest in my company because I don't want to have a boss, or please invest in my company because I want financial freedom. That's not an answer for the investor for why he should invest.
Okay. Anybody? You want to applaud? Applaud! Yeah! All right. This class is all about learning from each other. I don't have all the answers. Me, when I teach, I'm more acting as a coach or as a facilitator, right? I facilitated the discussion because we're very fortunate. This is a very fortunate opportunity because we have wisdom from international perspective, right? So do seek out different comments or experience from the colleagues in this classroom. So I give everybody a minute. Now write on your slide, on your handout, after hearing about the reflections, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Or do you still want to be what? 也就是写下来啦。你为什么要创业，还是你不要创业的？好 I will do this Chinese and English. I will mainly conduct a course, but when I see nobody is writing, I will put some Chinese in it. Write on your slide, on handout, after hearing why do you want to create your own business? Or why do you want to create business with your friends? Or maybe the answer is no. So, 30 seconds. And you'll see the answer you have put it down now will change before noon. And it's perfectly okay. What we try to create in this classroom is try to emulate the business environment when you start. Everything changes, right? And there's no right or wrong answers. There's always wrong answers, right? But when you succeed, nobody talk about the wrong answers, right? All right? If you have any questions, just raise your hand. You have a question? Or you just stretching? All right, good. Okay. It comes down to, yeah, you have a question? I will hand you the mic. Red pill, blue pill. Do you have a question? Yes or no? Don't tell me you have a little question. It's either you have a question or you don't have a question. Do you have a question? Okay, yes, great.
I want to ask, we want to write this question is, I don't know how to say.
Sing Taiwanese.
Okay. 就是像我们
讲台语啦。不要跟你开玩笑。
我来拍摄啦，就是阮即摆要写的物件是。OK， 喂，就是我可以用国语吗？因为
那谁要帮你翻 ？Who's going to translate for you? No, I'm not going to translate. Who's going to translate for you? These are your colleagues. These are your resources.
Maybe you.
No, I'm not translating. Red pill or blue pill? I don't translate.
Or maybe I can use Taiwanese. OK，就是我先讲出来，是我们现在要写那个东西是要写创业意义还是
对你为什么要创业？
就是并不是很表面的东西，所以创业的东西。
没有对错的答案。
This is actually a very good question. He just asked, what should I actually write? Should I write what creating a business or entrepreneurship, the meaning behind it, or the meaning for myself? My answer is, there's no right or wrong answers. Right? If there is a definite answer, I don't think this course will be ever created. Sure.
Now we had the definition. What's the big difference like between innovators and entrepreneurs?
You want to ask my question, my definition?
And now we were at the definition.
Okay. So let's have attention over here. So will you please repeat the question? It's a great question.
Because now that we had the definition part, I'll ask what is the difference between innovators and entrepreneurs?
Anybody have an idea?
Money works for him, he just innovates something in the company and then he doesn't work something. It's there are some administrators which work with his money and trying to get him richer. And entrepreneurs he have to do something by himself, creating, advertising, creating product, find any people who can help him and making money by himself, something like that.
So let me repeat. So innovator will work for something else.
His money works.
Okay, so it's not his money. Because I hear money repeating 10 times. Money, money, money. That's all I hear, money. So, innovator, what's the relationship between money and the innovator? Okay, innovator is a person. Entrepreneurs are?
A person, but usually without money, but with a him.
Okay. Anybody have any thoughts? Jeffrey? Jeffrey have a thought.
My thought was innovator is I make something in my mind, on my mouth. However, for entrepreneurs, I do something by my hand.
Great. I have an analogy. What's the difference between artists and designers? This is my analogies. 艺术家跟设计者. Oh yeah, somebody, right? For me, no offense, this is my analogies. Artist, the thing doesn't need to sell. It sits in the museum and everybody bought to you. That's artist. Designer, maybe not be remembered for 100 years, but the thing sells at something. Innovators, great. What does the definition of innovation mean? Make things better or create new things that create a better world, right? So the concept behind innovation is better, faster, quicker, smaller, cheaper, free, right? Innovations. But who pays? There's no talk about that somebody will pay for that innovations. So we see a lot of innovators have a lot of innovations but still have problem paying their bills, right? If you create something that nobody paid for the value, how can you create a company? An entrepreneur take that accountabilities, try to pay for the cost of innovation while trying to make a margin, which is called profit. The next slide will have an example, and hopefully that will help. Okay? So that's a great question. So look at this definition. Definition comes from Forbes magazines. It says they actually pick the best definition that they are seeing, which is from dictionary.com. It's a person who organizes and manages any, this is the highlight, any, all right? Enterprise, especially a business, usually with considerable initial and risk. The second keyword is initial. I'm sure when Yahoo, Google's, IBM, HP, Boeing, when they started, even Apple, when they started, there's a lot of risk. But when the business model, or when they generate revenue, the business model is proven. And more people want to join that company because it's less risky. We're going to talk about more. There's actually two stages of companies. There's very risky, but for some reason, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, it's less risky. And we're going to talk about that today. Great questions. Okay, so the key words over here is any and initial. Any questions about this? So if tomorrow this is an exam question, would everybody score 100%? If you think you're going to score 100%, raise your hand. One no, right? So how come if this question comes up on the exam tomorrow, you will not score 100%? Why? Can't you remember the definition and write it down? Sure, so you will score 100% tomorrow. Okay, let me ask the question again. Is everybody clear with the definition? Yes, except him, right? Yes. And if I put this question on the exam, will you score 100%? And the answer is no. Right, why?
I'll remember it, but it's going to take me a while to digest it, actually. Because I always associate entrepreneurship with risk, but not always initiative. It's going to take me a while to
Right.
digest it.
Okay. So that's why this course exists, right? There's 1,000 definitions out there. We still don't know what that is. Could be. But that's what the course is all about, right? So for 1,000 years, these big companies have existed for 100 years, 200 years, and we're still trying to understand what entrepreneur is. Why? Well, the person who defined it, iPhone didn't exist, right? Google didn't exist, right? When environment changes and innovates, things changes. So that's why it's very difficult to define. But since this is a very classroom environment, I think all the professor will show a slide of definition, right? So that's why I show it. But usually I don't show a definition, right? As you said, you're right. Throughout this 6 weeks, you will develop your own definition of what that is. I have one, and that's going to come later in the slides. Okay? Any questions? So, funny, eh? We put this on the slide, and tomorrow everybody's going to fail. I hope this is going to resonate in you. What's the difference between 创业者跟商人? What's the difference between a business person and an entrepreneur? Maybe you have that question flashing your mind, right? So what's the difference? Let me ask you, which sounds cooler or which sounds better? A business person or entrepreneur? Engineer? Blue pill, red pill. A business person? You think you would rather be called a business person or businesswoman? Or would you rather be called an entrepreneur? Okay, this is the blue pill and the red pill times, okay? I'm gonna ask you to raise your hand. You think you would prefer to be called a business woman or businessman? Raise your hand. 你希望被叫的是商人，请举手。Okay, okay, business person, business group, or you'd rather want to be called as an entrepreneur? Raise your hand. No? Who? Point it out, point it out. Who? You be the bad person. Go. You raise two times? You change your mind? Okay. So she want to be entrepreneur. So for the people who did not raise your hand, you may get me a juice吧? Did you raise your hand? Did you raise your hand? Who did not raise your hand? 没有举手的请举手. Who did not raise your hand? Be brave. Okay. 3 people over there. 谁没有举手? 谁没有举手? Thank you, big boss. 谁没有举手? Who did not raise hand? Okay, let's do this again. You think, why, just pause a second. Why do I keep on saying blue pill or red pill? Why? Anybody know why? Decision. Entrepreneurs is all about making decisions. So we are actually teaching everybody how to make decisions. If you start to get a habit of making wrong decision, it's great. Because wrong decision is better than no decisions. 错误的决定总比没有决定好. Because as an entrepreneur, you cannot hesitate. So even from a very small decision-making process, we should hesitate. So that's what today, we're training to do that. All right, let's do it again. You would rather to be called as a business person? Raise your hand. You would rather be called as an entrepreneur? Raise your hand. Oh, more hands. Do we have any no-shows? Okay, thank you. Why? Why?
I'm thinking about it as a life cycle. So like, if you're a successful entrepreneur, eventually people will call you a business person. Whereas if you're still an entrepreneur after a while, it means that maybe you failed at a few things and maybe you haven't succeeded in something yet. So like you mentioned Steve Jobs. Late in his life, people would be calling him a business person. But earlier in his life, they would be calling him an entrepreneur.
Okay. If we are able to make a phone call to Jobs, right, in the heaven, what do you think his answer would be?
He would tell us all to be entrepreneurs and to take risks.
Yes.
But you didn't ask us what Steve Jobs would call us.
Well, but if you ask him, right, according to that definition, we may say that at early stage, you haven't yet proven to everybody you're an entrepreneur, but when you succeed, you're a business person. If we follow that analogy, if today we call the head of Virgin Group, right, what would he say?
He'd say just what Steve Jobs said.
Entrepreneur, right? Okay. So here is my definitions. The goal of business person is all about making profits. Nothing wrong about that. Somebody got to pay the taxes, right? The goal of entrepreneur is all about creating beautiful products.